Hey everybody, so I want to take a quick 10-minute video and talk about how seasonal work can work for you. So I have a guide, seasonal worker guide, that's on my Facebook homepage. There's a link, download it, it's free. And I talk about going over your aims, not just your bucket list of places that you want to see and go visit, and not just what are your ultimate goals, but what are your aims. So when I did seasonal work, I was very intentional. And this is what I mean about how you can make seasonal work for you. Yes, there's a lot of stigma, and I talk about that in another video with, midlife career changes in general. I was 45 when I did this, and I'm 47 now. And I wanted to have a couple of aims and therefore meet my goals and also cross off my bucket list. And seasonal work was my answer. I used to work in healthcare, and I was a traveling healthcare consultant. I lived in hotels. I did not have a kitchen. I was going to the best steakhouses pharmaceutical companies can buy, so to speak. And I gained over 100 pounds, and I'm not kidding. I'm not exaggerating. It was over 100 pounds. So I gained a lot of weight, and I said, I need to really lose this weight. It's now or never. At 45, I want to make a career switch. I don't want to work in healthcare anymore. It's sick care. And everybody, is of course in a bad mood. And I want to be around people that are celebrating something. They're happy. How can I do that? Well, working in a hotel seasonally was my answer. So I simply found a job site. It's called Coolworks. Go on to my guide that I have on my Facebook page. I also have it, on my YouTube as well, Facebook and YouTube. And it is downloadable, and it talks about all these different job sites. I have links to them and Facebook groups that post these jobs. I have everything in there about salaries, housing, transportation, you name it, it's there. So, and I have a whole list about aims. Let's talk about your aims. And so I want to talk about mine. So again, I wanted to lose 100 pounds. I gained that much weight. I wanted to lose 100 pounds. And you knew it wasn't going to come off, in a year or two, right? So it was going to be a little bit longer of a seasonal, not just the summer seasonal. I knew I was going to probably do a seasonal for summer and for winter. I thought it was only going to take 1 year, but no, it took a lot longer than that. I'm 47 now, so I'm in my second year of doing it, and I'm still trying to lose all the weight. I've lost 82 pounds already, so I'm almost there. But my aim was to lose all this weight. And to do that, I needed to be far away from restaurants. Starbucks is my guilty pleasure. Cheese is my guilty pleasure. Wine is my guilty pleasure. These things that make you fat, I needed to be away from. And I needed to be in an area that was going to be limited towards the meals that I was going to get. So seasonal work mostly will come with housing. Plus, it will also come with what's called an EDR, an employee dining room. So you'll probably pay about $100 a month maybe, or maybe $100 a paycheck, so $200, and they will make your meals for you. So you get 3 meals. Some of them are a little bit more, where you'll get your choice of like a buffet, if you will, and then you can just eat during those 3 times, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, whatever you want. It's a buffet. I've been at one place where they will put the leftover food in a freezer, and at any time you can come and get whatever leftover food that you want. But I've been at other places where no, you eat these 3 meals and that's it. There's usually an option. They're aware of people being vegetarian. Some people eat chicken. Some people don't eat chicken. They eat steak, whatever. There's some options. But, you take 1 full meal. You take 1 full appetizer. You take 1 or 2 sides. You take 1 dessert. So I found a place in Wyoming that did that. It was an hour away from town. It was in Cody, but it was right by the east entrance. So it was going to take me an hour if I wanted to go to the store or Starbucks or Wendy's or whatever. And I didn't bring a car. So this is where I was going to be really reliant on transportation of other people to take me into town. So this was perfect. I would have no excuse to go to Starbucks. I would have no excuse to just go eat my face off like I had been doing for a long time. So that was the aim, and I was able to meet it, aim of losing 100 pounds, and meet it by going to these isolated, more rural areas, even though it was right by the park, which is great because I could go in the park and I could hike and I could, walk around a lot and get that exercise that I needed. So that was one of my aims. My second aim was I really wanted to explore the western states. I lived in Colorado. I had explored all 50 states except for Hawaii and Oregon. But I knew I was going to leave Chicago. I didn't want to live in Chicago anymore. It was just getting dangerous by the day. And I was like, I need to go somewhere where it's much safer. And it was so busy. Chicago's so busy. And I wanted somewhere quiet. Again, I was 45 when I did this. I'm 47 now. And I was looking to settle down. As a travel consultant, I would leave I was gone for 2 weeks out of the month, every month except for Christmas. And then I moved a lot. I had my own company that was in healthcare and I could do it online. So I was living in Latin America. I was living in Europe. I could live anywhere. So now I was like, it's time for me to kind of get some roots. And I was thinking about the Western states. So I wanted to try and have some sort of living situation in those Western states. So Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho was what I was interested in. So I found jobs in all 3 of those states, just seasonally, because I wasn't going to make a commitment. I wasn't going to make a year commitment. I didn't want to have that awkward conversation with, my boss of, oh yeah, I know I took this job, but I'm leaving. And plus, I don't want to go find housing, put a down security deposit, security fee, application fee, and 1 month's rent, then break it and do a sublease. I didn't want to do that. So seasonal work with housing in those mountain states worked for me. And it was a year and a half that I got to do that and explore those states, live in those states. And when you're older, you want to find places that are going to be more like-minded. You do look at the community, you look at the neighbor, you look at the crime statistics, you look at the politics, and you're not looking for like a hot trend. Like I lived in Florida for many years. I lived in Colorado. I lived everywhere where it was a hot trend, but I'm older now. And if I do want to settle down, and yes, I can still have kids. I have eggs, I've checked. I don't want my kids in certain areas. I want them to grow up in a like-minded environment that I, believe in. So I wanted to try before I buy. And I always say, you can make seasonal work for you. You can try before you buy. I also had the aim of switching professions. I no longer wanted to be in the healthcare industry. I no longer wanted to have my own company. When you have your own company, you will work around the clock. A lot of my business was with foreigners, foreign medical students. So 3 o'clock in the morning, I would be up because that's when it was daytime in foreign countries. So I wanted a little bit more of a normal schedule, and I just wanted to close it down. I was done. I had no more passion for it. And I wrote 2 books, and everybody in medical education has it. So I felt like I served my purpose in that role. So with closing my business, I had more me time. I can go do some fun things. I can go, like I said before, I can hike. I could go to all these excursions. I can snowmobile. I could ski. I could do park tours. I could do whatever I wanted to do. And that was another aim that I wanted to have because I felt like I needed to make up for lost time. When you have your own business, you're busy building it. You don't get to play a lot. So I'm like, now I need to make up that time. And I wanted to go see a lot of the parks that I hadn't gotten to see, like Glacier Park in Montana. I wanted to, snowmobile. I wanted to learn how to ski. I wanted to do all that. So again, those Western states ended up being perfect for me. So that was another aim that I got to check off my list. Again, living in those Western states, seeing if it was somewhere I'd want to settle down, got to check off my list. Most importantly, I got to switch from healthcare into hospitality. I always say, healthcare is sick care, and I didn't want to work in a sick care model anymore. So I wanted to leave, and I have a whole video on that if you want to watch it. But I wanted to be around people celebrating, people were happy, on vacation, and I'm so thankful that people, strangers, allow me to experience that with them. I fell in love with it with the very first job that I had. My first job was in a hotel, but it was for their retail store. And I was like, I really like this. I really like being around all of these people. They're not sick. You can have your bubbly personality. In healthcare, you can't. You have to be respectful of the people that are there because someone they know is sick. They're fighting cancer. Maybe they're even dying. I didn't work in NATO, so, babies being born, labor and delivery, that wasn't my area. So I was more so in surgery and all of that, and I was accrediting all these residency programs. It was a tough job, a lot of compliance, a lot of working on deficiencies, and I was just burnt out from it. So I was very lucky that people allowed me to share their journey with them. And I noticed a lot of people talk a lot, and they're like, oh, what are you doing? Like, how are you doing this? You work here? A lot of people thought that I owned it. And I was like, no, I'm just a seasonal worker. And they're like, what is that? Like, a lot of people didn't know what seasonal work was. They just think it's retail during Christmas. And honestly, that's what I thought too. I just simply Googled seasonal travel jobs because I was used to traveling because I had my own business where I traveled. And then before that, I was a healthcare consultant. And so I was like, yeah, you can do seasonal work. You can have real jobs. Now, the only problem is that you might not get a 401k because it's seasonal, not permanent. I'm just tiptoeing in. I don't know if I want to end up in hospitality. This is my first time in hospitality, and I don't know what role I want in hospitality. So doing seasonal work will allow me to work in a variety of different jobs in hospitality. You could work in a restaurant. You could work in the tour excursions. You can be outside tour guides, for kayaking, mountain climbing, mountain biking, you name it, hiking. There's boating jobs, yacht jobs, stuff like that too. Ticket sales, you could go do ski patrol, you could make the snow on the mountains. There's so many different jobs. So I felt like this is a great opportunity for me not to have a permanent placement, because at 45, I don't want to get stuck in a job that I hate after leaving a job that I was just no more passionate, was bored with, right? I was like numb. So I was like, I want to have excitement, and I want connectivity, because in healthcare I wasn't getting it. And so I started off in retail. I'm like, retail management's not where I want to go. So I figured I liked the receptionist or reservations. And I was like, well, let me try a seasonal job with reservations. And I loved it. So I first started at 7 to 3, the morning shift, and I didn't like it because, first of all, I'm not a morning person. But you do different duties from the morning shift to the second shift, and then the night auditor shift, the third shift. So I was like, a night auditor position came available, and that was a split shift. So I was going to do 3 shifts from 3 to 11, and then 2 shifts, the night auditor shift, which is 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. I was like, this is great. So I liked checking people in, and I liked doing the pre-work for that. And then I really wanted I said to myself after I had enough front desk job experience, I was like, I really do want to do a hospitality management. And so the night auditor position helped me do that. So my aim was now to become a hotel manager of some sort. And taking on that night audit position gave me that, because you are doing all the operational reports, you're reconciling accounts, you got supervision experience and management experience. So they're going to give you overall training on everything, just like the hotel manager has. And then next after that would be the general manager. So it's like, I'm on track. And at 45 to make this change, it's hard because there is a lot of ageism in work. If I were to make this flip automatically to a hotel, for example, go for a permanent job, they probably wouldn't hire me. A, because I don't have the experience, and B, because of my age. You can find my age out. When you do an interview, you can see I'm older. I'm chapped. Definitely chapped. I just did a peel, but you look at that. You can see I'm older. So I'm not in my 20s, and they're going to have some ageism. They don't want to bring somebody on who's got 15, 20 more years left of work. Now, I'm 47 now, and I've been doing it for 2 years, and I am now applying for jobs that are general manager, and I've only done 2 years of night auditing. Now, the general manager positions are smaller boutique hotels under 100 rooms, but those are the ones that see my experience and recognize the transferable skills for a smaller hotel. The only problem is that there's a trade-off. These types of boutique hotels want you to work 6 days a week from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. and then the night auditor will come in. Well, I'm still young enough to where I want my time, I want my work-life balance, and I want to go explore. So I've had 4 interviews for general manager positions, but I've said no to 2 of them who offered me the role. And it's just because of the hours. I'm still young enough. I want to go make my life happen. I'm not even married. I'm single. So I still have a lot of personal things that I want to accomplish. So it didn't work out for me, but I'm going to do another year of night auditing. And that will be 3 years total. And then I'm going to go for like a management, like an operational support. And that will be like a hotel management position. And then eventually, I can work my way up to general manager. But there's a lot of conglomerates out there, like these Fortune 500 companies that own a lot of hotels and recreation type of businesses connected to seasonal work. So again, if you're in the parks or near the parks, there will be tour excursions. This one company I worked for, there was a hotel, a restaurant, tours, bus tours, snow coach tours, snowmobile tours. They had retail stores for rental equipment, skis, everything, you name it. So there's a lot of opportunities. They hire thousands of people. They have hundreds of, close to hundreds of different hotels and resorts throughout the United States. So there is, once you get in, there's a lot of opportunity to grow. You prove your skill set. You prove why they need to bring you on. You work your way up. So for me, that trajectory of going into management my aim was met because I took the role of the night auditor. So if you are bored with your job, if you want some excitement with your job, but yet you don't want that permanent commitment, try doing seasonal work. You don't have to work in a hotel. You don't have to work in a park. You find the right job for you. And I have all that in my guide. Go to my Facebook page or just stay on my YouTube page. Go to the actual like home page of it and you'll see the link. It's Seasonal Work Guide. It's the only link that I have. So click on that and I have all these different websites for jobs, companies, Facebook groups that post jobs, what seasonal work is all about, the different roles that you can have, housing, how much it costs, salaries. I have all of that, so you don't have to do all that work for yourself. I know I needed it when I started, so I'm not selling anything. I'm just trying to be helpful. But seasonal work can work for you, and that's what it's all about. They know that there's an exchange. When you go into seasonal work, every job interview I've had, they're like, yeah, we try to give you 2 days off a week. Sometimes you can get 3 days if you do the 4-day-a-week shift. We know that you guys are here to experience and to explore and have fun, and we want you to do that. So the downside is that you will get a little bit less of a salary than permanent employees. Of course, you won't get those 401k. Sometimes you don't even get PTO. I get like $20 an hour. Sometimes I'll get $23 an hour. My housing might be free, but it's not. It's always discounted. You know, the most I paid is typically around $300 to $400. Housing with food might be included. Again, called the EDR, so you might be paying $200 a month. Sometimes it's free. I've seen many places that will pay maybe 18 to 20-ish, depending on your role. You know, maintenance or whatever, labor will be like 25 plus. And you get free housing and you get free food, 3 meals a day. So think about that. If you don't have any bills, I have a cell phone bill and I have a credit card. That's all. So if I don't have housing to pay for in Chicago, do you know how expensive housing is in a good place? $2,100. And that's like a studio. So transportation, all of that, that's really expensive. You don't need to bring your car out to these places. Some places you do. Talk about that in my guide. But I go for places that you don't. They either have a shuttle or the housing is in walking distance to my job. So I can either basically save on housing, save on food, save on transportation. It makes it worth it for me getting $20, $23 an hour. So that's another aim, is if you want a nest egg, if you need to have some quick saving money. A lot of people will do seasonal work because, again, they get the free housing or the discounted housing, and they might take on 2 different positions. And a lot of seasonal companies will know that, and they'll be like, that's fine if you do, but we don't want you being a front desk clerk here, and then down the road, you're also a front desk clerk. So maybe they have other openings in their hotel. You could do split front desk. You could do porter. You could do bellhop. You can do doorman. You could do in the restaurant. There's lots of options, or you can go find another company to work for. A lot of the companies, though, in these type of seasonal jobs will have multiple different jobs because, again, they might have a hotel, they might have a restaurant, they might have tour excursions, a rental store, retail store. You never know. So ask them. It's easier to get hired in that same company but doing 2 different roles. So you could really save up a lot of money. I know a lot of people that do that. I don't really do that because I don't have any bills really. So my phone bill is really cheap, and the credit card that I have is like $300. And I usually just pay that off. So I want that aim of a nest egg and saving money. I want to travel the United States, and I want to see all the parks, and I want to see all of these land sites, landmarks, but I don't want to go into my savings. You know what I mean? I don't want to break the savings account that I have. So the money that I get in from the job pays for all my travel excursions during my time. I have been at a company short as a month and as long as 7 months. So you can make seasonal work for you. What's your start date? What's your end date? They know that you might not stay. So whether you do summer season, whether you do a spring season, a winter season, they will usually say something like, if you stay, we'll give you $1 or $2 extra. We pay that difference at the end. Or they'll be like, we'll give you a flat out $500, $1,000 bonus if you stay the season. So they try to incentivize you, but by no means are they going to really be like, you can only do this job if you stay. You sign a contract, but it's not a contract guaranteeing that you'll stay. There's no contract that's legal that says you're going to have to pay back all the money. So, again, you can make it work for you. If you can't find housing is terrible right now. Go do seasonal work because it comes with housing. Yes, the downfall is that some you will have to share. You might have another roommate, like dorm style, like back in college. I am lucky where I don't typically have that because of the roles that I work in, or I will purposely find places that just have private housing. So again, download my guide on my Facebook page or stay on YouTube and go to that main profile page, and my link is right there, and download it. And I've got all that information for you. So there's other aims that I list on there that you can meet your, goals and bucket lists, and just other good resources for you if you want to make this a job or even a career.